Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. It is indeed an honor and privilege to be with you this morning. I know last night was a very late night and a very early morning this morning, but it is indeed a honor to be with you here this morning in North Carolina. Thank you for that warm welcome. It's a privilege once again to be here in North Carolina, in Charlotte, the a city renowned for its spirit of innovation and community resilience. I want to extend my gratitude to the business leaders and community members who got up early this morning and joined us here today, including Mr. John Anderson of Anderson Enterprises. Where is John at? John, thank you very much for your leadership. It has been pivotal in driving economic growth here in Charlotte. In economics, we've come a long ways in the last 4 years. Think about where we were 4 years ago. At this time, our country was in the midst of a once in a lifetime pandemic. Unemployment was at 15%. You want to talk about things we've done for the economy over the last 4 years? Look what's happened. Unemployment is down. And I understand that people don't have the confidence in the economy. I get that that we have high prices. I get that. And there's not a day that I don't go without thinking about that. And we are going to keep our economy getting better. Our economy is good. We're almost at 4% unemployment right now. Think about what we've done over the last year, 4 years, matter of fact. Think about what we've done. The one thing we've got to work on, one of several things we got to work on in our country, is becoming united. You know, last night we witnessed a spirited debate that underscored the crucial choices facing our nation. It highlighted the different visions for America's future and the importance of informed decision making in our democracy. However, now it's time to move beyond rhetoric and focus on the real issues that impact the lives of everyday Americans. And that's what it really is. This campaign is about you. It's not about me. It's not about my opponents. It's about you. From healthcare and economic policies to environmental stewardship and voting rights, the stakes have never been higher. And they haven't been. They have not been higher. I cannot recall a time in my 60 years that the stakes for a presidential election have not been higher. As we gather here today in the Queen City, I'm reminded of the values that shaped my journey from my experiences growing up in Dallas to my commitment to serving all Americans, regardless of where they live or their background. You know, Charlotte, like Dallas, embodies a spirit of resilience and determination in the face of challenges. It's a city where innovation meets opportunity, where communities come together to tackle issues head on, and every voice matters. I stand before you today, united for a better tomorrow. This theme resonates deeply as we confront the pressing issues that affect us all. Over the past almost 4 years, our nation has navigated unprecedented challenges, from a global pandemic to economic uncertainties and environmental threats. Yet through it all, we have demonstrated resilience and strength, proving the American spirit cannot and will not be broken. Reflecting on the economic landscape 4 years ago, it's undeniable that we have made remarkable progress. When I took office, our economy was reeling from the aftermath of a global financial crisis with high unemployment rates and stagnant wages. Through Through resilience, determination, and the collective efforts of the American people, we have made significant strides and we're rebuilding our economy. This morning, I stand before you, proud to report that our nation's economic landscape looks vastly different from where it was 4 years ago. Unemployment rates have plummeted to historic lows, marking a testament to the resilience of our workforce and the strength of our economy. More Americans are finding gainful employment and pursuing their dreams with renewed vigor and optimism. Wages have begun to rise, providing much needed relief to hardworking families and empowering individuals to build brighter futures for themselves and their loved ones. However, amidst these signs of progress, challenges persist. The rising cost of living, including increases in aluminum, cardboard, health insurance, and wages, concern many American small business owners. Here in Charlotte and across the nation have highlighted these factors as reasons for planned price hikes this year impacting families and communities. And it has happened. That's one thing that I have constantly um, attempted to do is oftentimes when you get in elected office, especially in Washington, you get in elected office, you get up there, you lose contact with home. If you're a senator or a congressman, oftentimes you get up there, you fly into D.C. It's this. I want to say it's this game that you play, and you forget about the people in your home district. I have not forgot about any single American on any given day that I've been in office. We must address these challenges head on by investing in infrastructure, modernizing our transportation networks, enhancing energy grids, and ensuring cleaner drinking water by replacing outdated lead pipes. Furthermore, my administration is dedicated to advancing voting rights, to ensuring every American citizen can freely exercise their right to vote without barriers. We are working to protect and expand access to the ballot box, as we believe our democracy thrives when every voice is heard and every vote counts. Every vote counts. And like I said, that's one of the big issues of this campaign is voting rights. And quite simply, every American citizen in this country has the right to vote. No American citizen in this country should be denied the right to vote or have the ability to vote. We should ensure that we have safe and fair elections. We are the United States of America. We are one of the leaders in democracy in the world. Think about it. There is only a handful of democracies on this planet. And those often up and coming democracies are looking to us as an example of how to run their countries. We owe it to them, and we owe it to everyone in this country and everyone on this planet to be that shining city on the hill, that beacon of democracy that President Reagan talked about so many years ago. Another thing my administration is committed to is ensuring access to quality education for every child. And irregardless of where you're at in this country, irregardless of your zip code, irregardless of your income bracket, irregardless of your race, You deserve and are entitled to a quality education in this country. Since December, the United States Department of Education has awarded $286 million dollars to 264 grantees across the country to enhance school mental health services, preparing more than 14,000 new providers, including those from marginalized racial and ethnic backgrounds. Education is essential to unlocking opportunity and realizing the full potential of every American. And I want you to think about this morning. I've come to this podium and I tell you, and I've said this many times over the past 4 years, of how proud I am to be married to a full time educator. I am. And being married to Andrea has shed a lot of light on what educators do. There is, I believe, there is this false illusion on what teachers do in this country. A lot of people get in the education field because they see the allure of summers off. They see the 7:15 to 3:45 work days. It's not all that. And she can attest to that. It's a whole lot more. The average teacher spends on the average of about 80 hours a week working on school related items. It's not just showing up at 7:15 and out the parking lot at 3:45. It's showing up at 7:15, sometimes not leaving at 8 o'clock at night. It's spending Saturdays and Sundays on your computer doing lesson plans. It is spending the evenings attending performances of your students. It is at the parent-teacher conferences. It is all of those things that are the important things in education that oftentimes drive people away from the profession. They're lured by this great thing of having 3 months off and these hours, but it's not that. What my administration wants to do is we want to recruit a higher caliber of teacher. Now, I'm not saying that any teacher in this country is not that. The teachers of this country are one of the most important assets that we have. By far, one of the most important assets that we have. Think about this. Every morning, you drop your child off, your most prized possession, to school, and you entrust your most prized possession to an individual who you hope in the course of that school day, when you pick your child up in the afternoon at dismissal, you hope that when you pick your child up, they're smarter. You hope that when you pick them up, they're safe. That's an enormous responsibility to have. Not only that, but teachers are the guardians of the future. In these classrooms throughout our country, and I've been to quite a few over the past 4 years, in these classrooms throughout the country, they're set former doctors, they're set former scientists, engineers, astronauts, congressmen, and even presidents. It is the job of the educators to prepare them for the future. That's an enormous responsibility because the future of this country, and quite frankly, the future of this planet, sets in these classrooms today. And it is our job to get them prepared for that future. It's our job to do that. And it should be a quality education, not tainted by politics, but what we have an obligation to do is teach our students the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, the good, the bad, the ugly of history. We don't need to taint history and say, oh, this didn't happen. We need to teach history with every single mistake this country made. I'm not going to sit up here this morning and tell you that in almost 250 years of history, that the United States of America did everything perfect. It did not. It did not. We need to teach our students, our children, the mistakes we made. By teaching them the mistakes we made, they do not repeat them in the future. Also, when it comes to education, one of the things that drive people from the education field not only are the long hours, but is teacher pay. Teacher pay. It is not the most highest profession there is in the country. My administration is committed to increasing teacher pay. Before you say this is going to be another Washington power grab, it is not. It is not. Our goal on my administration is to ensure that every single teacher in this country has a livable wage. Too many of our educators are living at or below the poverty level. Too many of our teachers in this country are taking second jobs. And that's not right. That's not right. You know, the other critical issue that we're facing in this country is climate change. And there is a big urge to transition to renewable energy sources. And this actually would be reducing reliance on fossil fuels and promoting electric vehicles. And that is one thing that I've heard so many candidates in this race talk about, how they had this 20-year plan, 30-year plan, 40-year plan. I'm going to tell you this morning. We will not transition to EVs in this country until the infrastructure is ready. And you can quote me on that. We will not make that transition happen until the infrastructure can support it. Look at the infrastructure. Look at what is required of EV vehicles. In my hometown in suburban Dallas, Texas, we have, and there may be more, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying the one I know of. I know of one charging station at a restaurant. How is that going to support a city? How is that going to support a city? We must invest in infrastructure in this country to get ready for this change. But under my administration, that change will not occur until we're ready for that change. If it takes 20 years, if it takes 30 years, if it takes 40 years. You know, and also by taking the lead on climate action, we create jobs, protect our planet, and uphold our responsibility to future generations. We do, because I talk about preparing our students for the next generation. They're our next leaders, but we need to leave them a planet to live on. In climate change, is one thing that is happening in this country. I'm not going to sit here this morning and admit it doesn't happen. Admit it doesn't happen. And we're going to do everything we can to protect our climate. I'm fully committed to that this morning. I've been fully committed to that for the past 4 years. You know, lastly, recent attempts to restrict abortion rights threaten women's health and autonomy. Access to safe and legal abortion is a fundamental right. It's not a privilege. And we are steadfast in protecting this right for all Americans. The government should not have a say on women's health or any person's health. That should be a discussion between that person and their doctor. And let me clarify my stance on abortion. And it's been that way for a long time. Deep down inside, my heart tells me that taking a person's life is wrong. It's wrong. But also, as a leader, I have the obligation to follow the Constitution of the United States. And it gives everyone the right to make choices on their own. The government has no business deciding who lives and who doesn't live, especially when it comes to the to children. There are many times that abortion is quite frankly the only solution. And I know there's some deep thoughts on this and deep divides on this, but I think we should leave it up to the woman to make that decision, and to the families. This is a deep personal decision that they make, and the government has shouldn't have any say so in it. We should let that be a discussion between the woman and their doctor. We have The government should have no say so in this. You know, in closing this morning, I have every confidence in the resilience and ingenuity of the American people, and I really do. You know, together, united for a better tomorrow, we have overcome adversity time and time again, and we have really overcome. There were times 4 years ago at this time, our country was deeply divided, riots in the streets. I know the situation with George Floyd was happening. I know there were countless protests in Seattle. There was a summer of peace and all that. We have come so far in 4 years. I don't want to turn back. I don't want to go back to the time where it was 15% unemployment. I don't want to go back in time when we were so divided. There's still divisions of division out there. I'm not saying there's not. There is divisions of there are divisions out there. But think about what we can do if we come together as one. Think about that. Think about what we can do. We can accomplish so much more together. We are stronger together than we are divided. I think about 4 years ago when the pandemic first started, and we paid a salute to our first responders, the men and women, the nurses, the doctors in our hospitals. I remember being in Alabama and seeing a flyover of military planes over a hospital in Alabama, and how people were cheering our nurses, how people were cheering our doctors. And then seemed like over time we turned against them. We turned against them. You know, there are, when it comes to disagreements, we have a right to protest peacefully. Many times outside the White House, there will be people protesting. One of my fondest memories growing up is there was a person in Lafayette Park right across from the White House, and he banged his drum. He banged his drum for peace. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't setting anything on fire. He wasn't vilifying people on the air. He was just banging his drum in peace. I believe we do have a right to voice our opinion, but not in a destructive way. Not in a destructive way. The other day there was a protest in front of the White House over Gaza, and I was appalled of the destruction that happened over a protest in Lafayette Park, spray painting statues and and destroying property. You know, like I said, you have a right to protest. Put a sign up, put a speaker out there, and I've seen it happen many times in front of the White House. Put a speaker out there, voice your opinion. That's your right. But you don't have a right to destroy property or harm individuals. You know, let us build a future together that is brighter, more prosperous, and more inclusive than ever before. I believe we can do it. I believe if we put down the animosity, we put down the hatred, and we reach out and shake each other's hand and hug each other, united, there is not a single thing this country can accomplish if we work together. Not a single thing we can accomplish. And I know we can do this. I know we can do this. Thank you very much. May God bless you. May God bless our troops. And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.